$40. Antiwar.com reports the USS Decatur, a guided missile destroyer, has sailed around the vicinity of a number of Chinese-claimed islands in the partial island chain in the South China Sea, in a move U.S. officials say was done primarily to prove to China that they could do so over Chinese objections. This is just the latest in a series of Pentagon patrols through the area, which officially are presented as freedom of navigation operations, but which in the past the Pentagon has repeatedly hyped as being overt challenges to Chinese maritime claims. This one did not require the Pentagon hype, as the Decatur spent so much time loitering around the partials that China's defense ministry issued their own statement condemning it as an illegal and provocative act. China said 2 of its warships had warned the Decatur to leave. The claims of the patrol being illegal are disputed. Recent cases in international law have suggested that unoccupied islands like the ones in question don't extend a nation's maritime sovereignty, and that subsequently the ship never technically entered Chinese waters. The U.S. is keen to make this claim, though at the same time they went in knowing China's position, and therefore the claim it was provocative was definitely a fair one. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a federal judge blocked a state law preventing Mississippi's Medicaid agency from making reimbursements to Planned Parenthood and to the state's only abortion clinic. The order on Thursday by U.S. District Judge Daniel P. Jordan III overturned a law preventing payments to the state's Planned Parenthood clinic and to its only abortion clinic for birth control and women's cancer screenings. Although Medicaid does not generally pay for abortions, the law effectively barred the clinic from receiving Medicaid payments for other screenings, including birth control, cancer screenings, and sexually transmitted infections screenings. Records from the state's Medicaid division indicated it paid $384 in fee-for-service claims and $53 in encounter claims since 2014 to the Planned Parenthood clinic in Hattiesburg. Jordan wrote that essentially every court to consider similar laws have found they violated Title 42 of the United States Code, the so-called free choice of provider provision. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and now available as an audiobook. Reuters reports cyber attacks targeting a little-known internet infrastructure company, Den, disrupted access to dozens of websites on Friday, preventing some users from accessing PayPal, Twitter, and Spotify. Den, whose customers include some of the world's most widely visited websites, said it did not know who was responsible for the outages that began in the eastern United States and then spread to other parts of the country and overseas. The outages were intermittent, making it difficult to identify all the victims, but technology news site Gizmodo named some 5 dozen sites that were affected by the attacks. They included CNN, HBO Now, Mashable, and the New York Times, People.com, The Wall Street Journal, and Yelp. The company said the attacks were coming from tens of millions of internet-connected devices, such as webcams, printers, and thermostats, infected with malicious software that turns them into bots that can be used in massive distributed denial of service attacks, or DDoS. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security last week issued a warning about this powerful new approach, noting it was concerned about the potential for new attacks after code for malware used in these attacks was published on the internet. The Department of Homeland Security and FBI said that they were investigating. The disruptions come at a time of unprecedented fears about the cyber threat in the United States, where hackers have breached political organizations and election agencies. Attacking a large DNS provider can create massive disruptions because such firms are responsible for forwarding large volumes of internet traffic. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is The Onion Week in Review. A report released this week by the Brookings Institution found that the U.S. currently has enough chairs and that there is no urgent need to produce any new ones for the time being. Researchers confirmed through overwhelming evidence that there is absolutely no shortage of chairs, citing in their findings the sheer number of armchairs, folding chairs, bar stools, Adirondack chairs, swivel chairs, lazy boys, and rocking chairs already in existence.
Our research shows that even in a place where there seems not to be enough chairs, a quick investigation will find one or two chairs just over in the next room. Basically, as far as chairs go, I'd like to reiterate that we have a very good number of them and could just use those.
And in this week's local news, the guy in front of you is ordering for an entire construction crew. In other news, a local police department reduces costs by using the same evidence for every investigation. Voters are clamoring to hear if a female political candidate is a mother first, and a whitewater rafting trip in which a friend drowned is still pretty fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us toll free. Bring up anything you want. But coming up here tonight, thousands of soldiers in the U.S. military are now being forced to pay back the enlistment bonus that they received. We'll tell you more about that. You can share your thoughts with us about anything you want to discuss. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In the studio tonight here in Keene, New Hampshire, it's Ian.
And Mark.
So, yeah, surprise, surprise. What have we said before on this show? We pointed out that the government can change the rules anytime. And this is, I think, one of the best, most awful examples of them doing this.
At least a certainly recent awful example.
Yeah, so the story is actually coming from Los Angeles Times. It's specific to California because the California National Guard apparently about a decade ago was short of troops. Of course, the military in general was short of troops to fight in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so they enticed thousands of soldiers with bonuses of $15,000 or more to re-enlist and go to war. Well, now the Pentagon is demanding the money back.
Well, hold on. So first off, these are people who signed up in California. So it's not specific to California. It's specific to people who signed up at that time, which they could be anywhere right now all across the United States in all likelihood.
Okay. So I don't know if this affects beyond California.
And
That's
California is like 12% of the population. Well, if you'd signed up for the California National Guard 10 years ago and you got this 15 grand or whatever you got, and then you moved to Texas, do you think that
they're still after you?
Yeah, they're after you, man. I'm
just saying, I don't know if there's any evidence that this happened in the Texas National Guard or any other.
No, I don't think it did.
Okay, just making sure we're clear on that. It affected nearly 10,000 soldiers, many of whom served multiple combat tours. They've been ordered to pay large enlistment bonuses back to the U.S. military and slapped with interest charges, wage garnishments, and tax liens if they refuse.
Now, I presume that these people did this job in exchange with the intention of getting money for it, right?
Usually that's why people take a job.
Yeah, that's usually it.
There's sort of this whole narrative of you're fighting for freedom, but we know that's a bunch of crap. Well, you're only fighting for the whims of the politicians.
You certainly fight for what the politicians tell you to fight for, and that's that much is a reality. So, but I mean, they did it for the money, to some extent, and I think we can, see clearly here that if they would have not offered as much money, then many of these people wouldn't have gone to fight. Right. I remember reading the stories. I remember when it was difficult for the government to recruit. I remember that they were having to lower standards to bring new recruits in and things like that. Another thing you can do is pay more. So they had the experienced troops re-enlist, I guess. And these bonuses, now they're taking them back. That's just evil.
Audits.
These people faced the slings and arrows, literally.
That's correct.
Well, actually,
many
it's
of
not
them
literally. They literally faced, gunfire.
Multiple combat tours in some of these guys' case. after audits revealed widespread overpayments by the California Guard at the height of the war's last decade. Investigations have determined that a lack of oversight allowed for widespread fraud and mismanagement by California Guard officials under pressure to meet enlistment targets. Okay, so because the higher-ups in the California National Guard mismanaged funds and or engaged in fraud, that means that the people who have to pay it back are their victims? The people that they promised this money that they might not have had authorization to promise, or they, gave too much out or whatever, but the people who they signed up for these gigs, these, military re-enlistments, they're the ones who have to pay the price, not the people who actually engaged in the fraud.
That much is true.
Yeah.
And this is how it always goes with the government. The government is an organization that can fail its way to success.
Right.
And you've got to pay for the failures.
And they'll sacrifice the little guy on the altar of the all-powerful
Every
bureaucrat.
time. Right. Where's, these higher-ups, I assume these are officers of higher rank.
Mm-hmm.
Are they having their, pensions garnished? What's going on here?
Soldiers say the military is reneging on 10-year-old agreements and imposing severe financial hardship on veterans whose only mistake was to accept bonuses offered when the Pentagon needed to fill the ranks.
Yeah, duh.
Christopher Van Meter, a 42-year-old former Army captain and Iraq veteran from California, said, quote, "These bonuses were used to keep people in." He says he refinanced his home mortgage to repay $25,000 in reenlistment bonuses and $21,000 in student loan repayments that the Army says he should not have received. He said, "People like me just got screwed."
He's exactly right. Exactly right. And what about the ones that died? Are they going to go after their
families,
estate, and try to get their stuff back? I mean,
don't give them any ideas, Mark.
This isn't McDonald's or something. Trying to screw its employees. This is the U.S. military. Their employees face death, especially in this circumstance. We're talking about people who went to Fallujah and that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, even if McDonald's made a mistake and paid you too much on a paycheck, they're going to find out. They're going to find out right then, not 10 years later.
That much is true, but they likely wouldn't go after you. I mean, I think it's pretty rare that you're going to find an instance where an employer would take this kind of bad publicity. They just say, okay, whatever.
In Iraq, Mr. Van Meter, who again was the 42-year-old guy we were just talking about, was thrown from an armored vehicle turret and later awarded a Purple Heart for his combat injuries after the vehicle detonated a buried roadside bomb. So that's how they are helping this man after he, got blown up.
Yeah.
In the military, is by jacking him for $25,000.
Yep, he takes an IED for Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam goes and while he's laying there, pilfers his pockets.
Right. Susan Haley, a Los Angeles native and former Army Master Sergeant who deployed to Afghanistan in 2008, says she sends the Pentagon $650 a month, which is a full quarter of her family's income, to pay down $20,500 in bonuses that the Guard says were given to her improperly. She says, "I feel totally betrayed." She served 26 years in the Army along with her husband and oldest son, a medic who lost a leg in combat in Afghanistan. She now lives in Texas and worries that they may have to sell their house in order to repay the bonuses.
Oh, Uncle Sam's going to get his. Now, there's no debtors' prisons in the United States unless you owe money to the federal government, in which case they'll throw your butt in jail.
She says they'll get their money, but I want those years back, she said, referring to her 6-year re-enlistment.
Exactly.
The problem offers
you can't just go, offer somebody money to do a job and then go and take that money back. I'm sorry that some of your employees mismanaged the money. That's not my fault. I signed a deal.
Apparently they can. And that's the thing. The deal you signed is a deal with the government, and they can change the terms at any time, even ex post facto. After
10 years.
After the fact here, a decade later, you've gone, you've had children, you've bought a house, everything seems fine. You've managed to pay off your credit card debt or whatever. And now, wham, all of a sudden, $20,000 in debt to the federal government.
Could have to sell the house.
Just absolutely insane. The problem offers a dark perspective on the Pentagon's use of hefty cash incentives to fill its all-volunteer force during the longest era of warfare in the nation's history, but even Guard officials concede that taking back the money from military veterans is distasteful. Major General Matthew Beavers, deputy commander of the California Guard, said at the end of the day, the soldiers ended up paying the largest price. "We'd be more than happy to absolve these people of their debts. We just can't do it. We'd be breaking the law."
Well, I don't even know what that means. The Department of Defense can figure out, with the kind of money they wasted on the F-35,
right,
they can figure out how to fund this.
Yeah, if you think about it,
let's go to Congress. Let's say, hey, Congress, can we fund this? I mean, that would be the relatively easy thing to do.
I mean, we're not even talking about funding anything. We're talking about money that was gone a decade ago.
Yeah, but it's
already been spent.
They can write it off.
Right, but it's not like they're funding a new program here. I mean, this is somebody is looking over the books from a decade ago and saying, oh, the Guard officials in California mismanaged these funds and they paid too much in these enlistment bonuses. We should do something about that. I mean, they don't have to do anything. They could have just put this aside and said, it's 10 years ago. These people have had a tough life. Some of them got blown up. They're hurting. They are, now they have to deal with the VA and all the other
little
crap.
Pieces of themselves in Iraq.
The least we could do is just leave this alone and look the other way and not say anything about it. But nope, they're going to make a big deal about it and threaten to steal homes and destroy families. And you can share your thoughts on this. Are you caught up in this? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now. 1-800-719-2949. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-719-2949. That's 1-800-719-2949. 1-800-719-2949.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Investment Rarities, a 43-year-old company, has created the best silver offer ever. Get a U.S. Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, Austrian Philharmonic, OPM Pure Bar, and Silver Round. Have all 5 for $99 postpaid. You heard me right, 5 ounces of silver below cost. No credit card fees, free shipping. Just $99 and you'll have a great start on what it takes to survive even the worst economic storm. Act now and receive Jim Cook's exclusive paper explaining how it's possible to make a fortune in silver today. Don't miss this opportunity. Call 800-328-1860. Read how the above-ground supply of silver has dropped below even gold. The secret is being suppressed. The price could explode at any time. Call today at 800-328-1860. Get 5 ounces of silver for only $99. Find them on the web at investmentrarities.com or call 800-328-1860. Call now before it's too late. 800-328-1860.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. You can join us here. By the way, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can join us and bring up anything that you want, although we are talking about the most recent story of the military screwing over their members, or their former members, their veterans. In this case, it's not the VA this time. Usually it's like a story about the VA poisoning people or
something awful, mold on the walls.
Right, having some terrible conditions in which people are being kept in hospitals. No, that's not it this time around. This time it's enlistment bonuses that were paid out to troops that were brought in, I think mostly re-enlistments in Iraq and Afghanistan about a decade ago out in California. Apparently there was some so-called mismanagement of some of those funds. And as a result of that, the U.S. military is now demanding their money back a decade later, which is, as you might imagine, we're talking about $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 to all of a sudden get hit with a bill from Uncle Sam for that amount could be a shocker to pretty much anybody.
That could be really bad for a family, right?
Right. After you thought that you were so-called serving your country, which, of course, we know you're really just serving the politicians and these very same bureaucrats who are now demanding that enlistment bonus back. That'll be, I think, a real disappointment to a lot of people. You can join us with your thoughts on that. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Maybe there's somebody out there who actually thinks that the military should get paid back. Maybe you think that these people owe this $15,000 back to the military. I'd love to hear somebody defend this. Whatever pencil-pushing bureaucrat has made this decision, I think it's a horrible thing to do to somebody.
It's a horrible thing to do. It seems like a violation of a contract to me. It's just crazy.
So before we go on with your calls and thoughts here, I want to let you know about FEE, the Foundation for Economic Education. They've got a cool offer for you where you can actually achieve personal success while helping to create a prosperous society. As Ludwig von Mises said, quote, "Economics deals with society's fundamental problems. It's the main and proper study of every citizen," unquote. You can visit fee.org/FTL for free online lessons, perfect for the classroom or self-study. The course is called Economics in One Day, and it's easy to understand, but it will impart upon you an understanding of economics greater than school ever could. And for over 70 years, the Foundation for Economic Education has been providing free resources to teachers and students. You can start today at no charge at fee.org/FTL. That's FEE.org/FTL and learn why entrepreneurship matters. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here on the military just continually screwing over the veterans however they can. Let's talk to Steve in Tallahassee listening to WVFT FM. Hey, Steve.
Hello.
Hey there.
Couple of questions and a point of interest.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you mentioned violation of contract because most military enlistments are a contract. So
yeah, they'll remind you of that all the time. They remind you of your contract all the time.
That violated the contract. And being a veteran and having to go to the VA hospital and seeing all the guys and women down there, does that mean that anyone that was hurt while they were over there, they now get to sue the government? A fly-by-night ambulance-chasing attorney?
Sounds like they might.
Someone that can, get them $5 or $10 million.
It could very well be the case. I mean, this obviously hasn't shaken out yet, but I would presume the JAG Corps took a look at this before they went after $20,000 from, I don't know how many, thousands and thousands of people.
About 10,000 or so.
Have you ever met a JAG lawyer?
No.
Okay, they're They're not all there. They're spoons in a drawer full of knives. They're there, but some of them aren't too sporty.
Okay. So you think that that this isn't over yet? That there's probably going to be some lawsuits and perhaps some even bigger payouts.
I'd like to see a lawyer do a class action, even though the victims never get much in a class action. It sets a precedent for everyone else, and it ties up the government to where they can't go after anyone.
That much is true.
Well, Steve, I take it you've spent some time in the military. You know a thing or two about reneging on promises?
Yeah, I got out. I had a dedicated contract, and they violated it. And after 2 years, I was released with honorable discharge, full benefits.
So how do they violate your contract?
I went in as my contract said security police veterinarian, and I ended up jumping out of helicopters. And when I questioned, but we ran out of money to send you to school for that.
And did anything happen? I mean, as far as, any kind of settlement or whatever? Because it seems to me that the military's contract, they have the legal ability to change. Hello? Do we lose you? Steve in Tallahassee, going once. We lost him. Anyway, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Look, the military can write that it's not a contract like in your traditional contract.
Right, a contract is a meeting of minds where two parties come together, bringing things to the table. If one party can change the rules anytime it wants, you're not talking about sort of a real contract. No. The United States government has on its staff hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands lawyers out there. They can defend themselves readily. You've got to go out and hire one to defend you. That's not fair. That's not even.
It's crazy. All the cards are in their hand, and you should know that going into this, that if they want to change the rules on you, if they promise you college money and then they don't give it to you, good luck getting it out of them. And of course, there's all these, subtexts and small print, and that you have to do X, Y, and Z while you're in the military in order to qualify for the promises.
But the point I was making regarding, contract is they'll constantly remind you, soldier, you made a contract that that you agreed to a contract with Uncle Sam.
Right, you agreed to an open-ended contract.
They're always beating that into your head. That this is important. You signed a contract.
Well, not that you weren't in the military.
Well, yes, I do. I mean, I've talked to soldiers and Marines about it all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's stressed. It's common for them to discuss this, and they don't care. When it's their side, it just doesn't matter.
And that's true of other government programs as well. So Social Security is another good example of this, where the government promises, hey, you just give us 13.5% of every paycheck you ever make, and then someday, right now, age 65 and beyond, we'll take care of you. We'll send you a monthly check, and we are your government, and we are looking out for you. But of course, anybody that actually is paying attention to Social Security knows that it's essentially unfunded past a certain point, and they're going to have to do something to shore it up. They're going to have to raise the retirement age, or they're going to have to lower the payouts, or a combination of both, or maybe some other creative destruction or whatever that they can do to people's lives. But if they decide to pay you out half the amount you thought you were going to get, what are you going to do about it?
Not much.
Exactly. And you don't get to sue the government because they make the rules. Sure, you can try, but you're in their court system. You are in their court with their judge by their rules, by their contract that says they can amend it anytime. Corporations do this too, by the way. This isn't just a governmental thing. And by the way, governments are corporations. But your cell phone contract, your internet contract, all of these corporate agreements that you've gotten into, most of the time, they don't even have another signature on them. There's not even an authorized agent for the corporation signing it. It's just you signing it.
Just you signing it. How's that a contract?
And there's almost always a term in there that says, we can change the terms of this agreement. Sometimes they can give you notice. Sometimes they don't even have to give you notice. It's in there. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live.
You give someone an ounce of liberty and they'll go around abusing it and harming everyone else with it.
If we legalize guns...
People will be shooting people everywhere.
Right.
If you legalize prostitution, people will be having sex on the street corners. If you legalize drugs, we'll have heroin vending machines in the streets. We've heard it all on Free Talk Live. They take it to the most absurd, illogical extremes, and you're absolutely right, Alexander. It's okay for them to have freedom.
Yeah, you can give them a gun. They won't go around shooting people. But watch out with their neighbor, because you give them a gun, they'll go around in a rampage around the city killing everyone.
But yes, they can be trusted, and apparently the government can be trusted too, because magically, we only elect the best of the best, the cream of the crop. The bureaucrats that are administering these programs are the upper echelon of society, the most trustworthy individuals.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes when I squint, I swear I can see a halo above their heads.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Join us here on the radio. We're talking about getting screwed over by the government in an agreement that you thought they were going to honor. Oh, you didn't realize you were signing up with a criminal gang. I get it. You know, they don't seem like a criminal gang at first blush. They have all the trappings of a respectable organization. They try to act as though they're, this thing that is something more than just a collection of criminal activity. But I think people are waking up to this more and more, especially when you've got Hillary Clinton as one of the main candidates for president. Donald Trump, of course, also very, very unpopular. People are starting to realize that this whole federal government thing is just an awful deal. We got a lot of great response today here in Keene, New Hampshire. We had a secession event, an NH Exit or independence, pro-independence protest, demonstration, whatever you want to call this thing. We had signs out on the side of the road, lots of positive response, lots of honks and waves and smiles, and people, and some cheers as well. Some people love the idea of getting out of the United States, and I think that we're going to see that idea become even more popular here in about 3 weeks. After the election is over.
There's going to be a large percentage of the population that just wants out.
Absolutely. So anyway, HostGator.com will allow you to get set up with a website. Maybe you don't yet have one of these things. You don't yet have a blog. Maybe you want one, and you just haven't gotten around to doing it because you're a little intimidated by the process. Well, HostGator makes it easy. They are one of the top hosting companies out there, and they offer a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, which is the best content management system. This is the best system for running a blog and a website. They've got over 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into your hands. Plus, you'll get it all for way big-time discount here that we've managed to secure for you. It's 50% off their regular prices if you go through this URL. It's hostgator.com/FTL. If you just go to their regular website, you're only going to get their regular price, I think 20% off of that. 50% off is what you get.
Yeah, you're not going to find that anywhere.
HostGator.com/FTL. They've got a 99.99% uptime rating, so you don't have to worry about outages. These guys are pros. You get the special offer of 50% off for Free Talk Live listeners by going to HostGator.com/FTL. Let's go to your calls and thoughts, whether it's the military demanding tens of thousands of dollars back from their enlistees a decade later. That's what they're doing to some of the California National Guardsmen that had signed up. Or Social Security changing the rules and screwing people over. You can share your thoughts toll-free, 855-450-FREE. Amanda is in Virginia listening to WNIS. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, happy Saturday.
Hey, welcome. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to clear up a little thing about Social Security, because I know a lot of people do feel that it's a breach of contract, when us young people are looking forward to retirement and they're saying Social Security isn't going to be there. But that's because a lot of people aren't informed in how it was actually set up. Back in the Great Depression, it was originally intended to get the workforce to pay in now to pay grandma now as well. It was never intended to have a fund. So when you get into the baby boomers entering the workforce, there was a surplus, but there was nothing in place to hold the money, so it got spent in other programs. So as long as people realize that the money they hand now to Social Security does not go into a fund with their name on it, but it is paying for their grandma and the retirees in their community now, then it becomes more apparent that they need to save on their own. So it's not technically a breach of contract, but it's a common misconception of how the system is actually set up to work.
Yeah, it's a terrible investment as far as, if you look at the numbers. It's like the yield's like 1% or something for the average person. If you happen to be male, of color, poor, then you're probably not going to live as long. So that tends to diminish the numbers as far as it goes. So from that standpoint, Social Security's, it is what it says it is. It's a socialized program, right?
Well, and it's not even a contract, unlike the military where you sign something. Right. At no point do you ever sign anything.
There's no contract with Social Security. You work, you've got to pay. It's it's like a protection racket. You know what I mean? Hey, you can't handle old age, so I'll go ahead and handle it for you.
Right.
I want to apologize to all the Italian Americans.
Became dependent on it, so they stopped saving on their own.
Yep, that's right. It's the idea of promises from the government. The government seems like something that's going to be there in the future. It's always been there in our lifetime, so it's likely to be there in the future. People think that, it's the government. It's the American government. It's been here for a couple hundred years. Why wouldn't it continue on forever? Well, the fact is governments don't go on forever. They fail at some point. And when they fail, you have no mechanism to go after them. Yeah, maybe the guys in the military might be able to put together a class action lawsuit to try to keep the money that they were given. But if the government completely dismembers, if we have secession or the U.S. government fails entirely, then you don't get to extract blood from a stone at that point. So I agree with you. People who feel like they've been promised something by the government need to wake up and start taking care of their own retirement planning at this point.
Well, I think that
it's never too late to start.
The idea of the U.S. government going away in my lifetime seems pretty ludicrous.
I bet that was what a lot of people in the Soviet Union would have said.
I bet they're still getting some pensions out of it, though.
You think so?
Yeah,
that
I
seems
think
like pure
pension-
speculation to me.
I'll go ahead and check with some of my Russian friends.
All right. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing that. Amanda, any other thoughts you want to share?
No, that's it for tonight.
Thanks
You
for
guys have
your
a great
call.
night.
Appreciate it. Let's talk to Brad. By the way, our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are some other good examples of these open-ended contracts where the deal can just be changed on you? Let's talk to Brad in Kentucky. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Brad.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening.
Hey there.
I have a very simple comment.
Sure.
There are a great number of federal employees that are not paying their income taxes.
Really?
Nor are they being punished. Nor are they being punished in any manner. My suggestion is the federal employees that are not paying income taxes should have the same rules and regulations applied to them that are being applied to the National Guard in California. I just
Makes some
simply have
sense.
that comment.
Well, how about it instead of that, we just
I
have
wish you a
nobody
good
pay
evening.
income tax? Hey, thanks for the call, Brad.
Oh, I think that's great.
Yeah, I think that's a better solution.
Or that we have a flat income tax. Listen, keep up the good work.
Thanks, man.
And have a good evening.
Will do. Appreciate it. Our toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And again, that's another agreement that nobody ever really wanted to agree to. Yeah, you signed up for the income tax by filling out a 1040 or a W-2 or what is it, a W-4? I guess what W-4 when you get a job, usually for the first time.
You shouldn't take tax advice from Free Talk Live.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm trying vaguely to remember what it was like back when I used to pay those things. Yeah, so you sign up when you first get the job, and then you get on the IRS's radar, and then they're going to want to talk to you for a long, long time after that, and they're going to say that you owe them all this money. That, as far as I'm concerned, they're just a group of strangers. It's
a weird sort of indentured servitude. You work, you pay.
If
you don't work, we'll pay you.
Right. If some group of strangers you've never heard of before with a random 3-letter acronym for their name sends you an invoice saying, "Mark, we've determined that this year you owe us the amount of $5,000. Please enclose a check and fill out this form to give us some of your personal private information at the same time. And if you don't pay the $5,000, we'll send a group of men with guns to your home, and they might kidnap you in front of your children."
That's kind of how it goes.
I mean, what makes the IRS any different than some other criminal agency that might send you a random invoice trying to extract money from you with a threat of violence? That's all they are.
I guess the difference is that they use the money is then given the United States government, and it's dispersed after the bureaucrats and politicians take a nice big chunk for themselves and their friends. Then it's kind of dispersed, and you get some of the crumbs that come back to some extent, right? Like
that sounds like a really crappy deal.
Oh,
why would anyone
an awful
sign up for
deal.
that? Why would anyone voluntarily go along with this?
Well, that's kind of the point with taxes is that people believe they're necessary because no one would do this stuff on their own. They wouldn't pay for the worst school in a given district.
Some people claim they would. Some
government
people,
schools are.
I can tell you this, Mark. I've been at enough anti-tax protests in my time to know that there are some people who claim that they would pay taxes voluntarily, that they, love the idea of being taxed. They love the state.
Then they are taxes.
Then what are they?
Well, tax by its definition is something you pay involuntarily.
Is that true? Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE.
If it was voluntary, it's just a payment or a gift.
855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey.
Who do you think
Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. You ain't going to make. Wait a minute.
Forget it. Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold's $3 higher at $1,268 per ounce, and silver is 2 cents lower at $17.58 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $628 US. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage have been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. To see how we can help you, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live Saturday edition of the program. If you appreciate what we do here on Free Talk Live, then of course you can enjoy the entire website for free. But realize it does cost money to put that thing together. It costs a lot more money than I thought it would. But beyond that, we're also promoting Free Talk Live constantly to new radio stations. We've got over 160 great radio affiliates across the United States right now. We could have hundreds more. It just takes money to make that happen. To help us advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. That's why we have the AMP program, where you can become a Free Talk Live amplifier for as little as $5 per month, or you can pay with Bitcoin. So you can use any major credit card through PayPal. You can use Visa and MasterCard on our website, and Bitcoin. We just had a gal, I actually have no idea. Someone signed up this week with Bitcoin, and they paid for a whole year in advance, because with Bitcoin you got to pay in advance. So you choose the term, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. He paid for a whole year in advance and sent me a PGP encrypted message just kind of explaining how long he or she has been listening to the show, and why they listen, and that they've supported some of our advertisers in the past, but they've been waiting until Bitcoin to amp the show because privacy is really important to this individual.
Sounds like it if they send a PGP message.
And they sent it with like a throwaway kind of email address with not their actual Gmail or Yahoo or any of those things. So an unidentifiable kind of email address. And We don't know where that money came from.
It's one of those. It's a White House employee. I know that we're widely listened to there, and
it could be.
Yeah,
it could very well be, or maybe an FBI agent or something like that. Who knows? But that option is there for you. If you want to pay with Bitcoin to amp the show, you can do that. And of course, whether you pay with Bitcoin or dollars, you can get all the perks that the amplifiers get, which is the AMP Only podcast, the AMP Only call-in lines, the AMP Only Facebook group. So go to amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. So we go to Joe. He's in upstate New York listening to WTNY in Watertown. Hey, Joe.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
I just want to clarify a point. First, I'm no fan of the government, so don't misconstrue what I'm about to say, but those National Guard soldiers in California who got screwed, they got screwed by the state of California, not by the federal government. National Guard is controlled, paid for, enlisted, re-enlisted by the state of California.
The Department of Defense is the one who issued this, as I understand it, and that's the feds. So they are claiming that that the bad behavior went on by the California National Guard, but it's the DOD that's pressing the issue.
Well, right. Where did the money come from to pay these people? If they were hired to go and work for the military in Afghanistan and Iraq, presumably that money came from the federal government.
But they're not, though. They're hired by the state of California. I'm retired Army. I did 24 years, including 3 tours in Iraq. And National Guard soldiers are called up, activated, whatever, paid for, recruited, enlisted, armed with federal money, but it all runs through the state of California.
Right. So the money's coming from the feds, going to bureaucrats in California who they say mismanaged this, and
right, then they charge the state of California, not the soldiers.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They should leave these poor soldiers alone who've been, out of the game for years now. This is a decade old here. Now they're jacking them for $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 after the fact. It's insane.
Wow. Absolutely. Yep. Well, I'm not surprised, though. I've been fighting with the IRS for years.
Over what?
So I know what it is. It's a long story. It stems from property sale and divorce and you name it. But, they're always got their hand out and not banging on my door. So, yeah. And so, as I said, I'm no fan of the government.
Yeah, it's the upline officials who are the ones who should be getting the blame for this, but they, I guess one of them went to prison. We didn't get to the rest of the story yet, but so they put one guy in prison, but that's not going to help the people who are trying to get,
They put him in prison for a mistake or for something he did on purpose?
For the mismanagement of these funds, which presumably was done on purpose. Army Sergeant, Master Sergeant Tony Jaffe, the California Guard's incentive manager, pleaded guilty in 2011 to filing false claims of $15.2 million and was sentenced to 30 months in federal prison. 3 officers also pleaded guilty to fraud and were put on probation after paying restitution. Instead of forgiving the improper bonuses, the California Guard assigned 42 auditors to comb through paperwork for bonuses and other incentive payments given to 14,000 soldiers, a process that was finally completed last month. So, Mark, you might be incorrect about this. It sounds like it was the Guard who audited these numbers, not the feds.
Well, I'm not claiming the feds are pushing the issue, though, because it's the DOD. The DOD was mentioned earlier in the article as the one that was, making this happen.
I'm not sure about that. I don't think the Department of Defense was mentioned.
All right, Control F for defense.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, thanks for the call tonight,
Thank
Joe.
you.
I appreciate it, man. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I can tell you this. The federal government could stop this from happening if they wanted that to happen.
Yeah, the only time defense appears in this article is, let's see, the Pentagon's Defense Legal Services Agency. So, no, it doesn't talk about the Department of Defense at all here.
Well, it mentions the Pentagon. That's federal.
Let's continue here. We got Willie on the line in Pennsylvania, and I think you're listening to WILM actually in Delaware. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sitting at the Philadelphia airport listening on a Wilmington, Delaware station. But listen, I want to make a couple of quick points about the income tax.
Sure.
I'm a paralegal, and I've been studying the income tax for a long time. And before I get real deep in the weeds here, can I just throw out one website people should look at? It's called losthorizons.com.
Mm-hmm.
All the information you need about the income tax is in there. But here's the thing now. There's only 2 types of taxes in this in the world, actually, or in this country, and that's direct and indirect. And an indirect tax is basically a tax that you can avoid. And it's also called a privilege tax because this is how the federal government has the ability to tax people. It's because you exercise a federal privilege. But most people do not exercise a federal privilege, but they get fooled because there's some terms of art in the Title 26, the income tax law, that fools people, such as employee, the definition of employee, employer, and wages. Okay, these things don't have anything to do with the average person out there who's earning a living on his own and does not exercise a federal privilege. In other words, he's not a federal employee. He's not an officer of a federal corporation, things of that nature.
Have you heard the name Irwin Schiff before?
Yeah, I know all about Irwin Schiff. He recently passed away, but
it's a shame.
This is not. This is not Irwin Schiff's issue. This is based purely on legal research. Okay, people that have these silver bullet theories about the income tax, they always lose. Okay.
Yep,
but
they do.
They do. But there's a lot of people out there who are filing correct income tax returns, and you always have to file a return, and that's because somebody sent the IRS some information that said Joe Blow is an employee, I am his employer, and he made wages. So the government waits for Joe Blow to verify these things. If Joe Blow does nothing, doesn't file an income tax return, then it goes down as a fact that you are an employer, you have an employer, you are an employee, and you made wages. But if you rebut that information with a correctly filed income tax return and say, no, I made zero wages, blah, 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 and you file, and they also have a form 4852. People can look this up. It's right on the IRS website, form 4852, which corrects falsely filed or incorrectly filed W-2s and 1099s that people have sent in on you because they don't know the law, and you tell the IRS that you know the law. You send this in, you get all the withheld money back.
Now, have you actually done this?
Thousands and thousands of people have done this, and more attorneys are coming online.
Have you actually done this?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes,
how many years in a row has it?
I am an educated taxpayer, and I file a correct income tax return. And there have been times in my life when I have exercised the federal privilege, and I've had to pay the taxes. Okay? So, but listen, we can get deep in the weeds on this, believe me.
Oh,
and
we don't have time for that. But I just wanted to see if you were actually somebody who's done this or if you were just an advocate of it. So you say you've actually done this, and I say kudos to you for that. I don't think people should have to pay these goons, and whatever it is, if there's actually a system that works to save people from this IRS tyranny, I think that
color me skeptical.
That's great.
Because there's people who are in jail for this stuff.
Yeah, you got to be really careful.
No, sir. People are not in jail. People are in jail for not filing income tax returns, and people are in jail for evading federal income tax.
They're in jail for those things.
Just because you earn a living in this country doesn't mean you owe the income tax.
I agree completely with you. I just, I want to make sure that I can't recommend, obviously, what you're saying without having actually researched it. So thank you for sharing it with us tonight, though. It's Free Talk Live. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
The Blockchain Education Network has had a busy fall semester introducing, educating, and giving away Bitcoin. The initiative believes wholeheartedly that students should understand cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Now the organization is ramping up its efforts to educate the academic masses, offering a bounty to students who help build a syllabus. The Blockchain Education Network has set aside a total of 4 Bitcoin to divide between students who add content. To learn more, go to news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, October 22nd, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.55 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,267 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $640. Antiwar.com reports the USS Decatur, a guided missile destroyer, has sailed around the vicinity of a number of Chinese-claimed islands in the Parcel Island chain in the South China Sea, in a move U.S. officials say was done primarily to prove to China that they could do so over Chinese objections. This is just the latest in a series of Pentagon patrols through the area, which officially are presented as freedom of navigation operations, but which in the past the Pentagon has repeatedly hyped as being overt challenges to Chinese maritime claims. This one did not require the Pentagon hype, as the Decatur spent so much time loitering around the parcels that China's defense ministry issued their own statement condemning it as an illegal and provocative act. China said 2 of its warships had warned the Decatur to leave. The claims of the patrol being illegal are disputed. Recent cases in international law have suggested that unoccupied islands like the ones in question